like it's hard to understand. The whole thing is getting out of hand. Here comes the Papa.
Well, good morning, kiddos. It's I, Grandpa Peter Coyote, coming to you once again here from Crestone, Colorado, in the United States of America, or what's left of it. A beautiful place of being. I'm sure you'd enjoy it here if you came for a brief little visit sometime. And a few of you might want to stay. You never know. It's that kind of place. It's kind of gathering for some folks and totally repulsive to others. But you can't pick a more beautiful place of being. The mountain's majesty rising behind us, oh my goodness. It's an awesome sight every morning to step out and see that, I'll tell you. Life rocks, and living in Crestone is just awesome, even though it's a bit difficult to make ends meet here, you know, because, man, we're a million miles from anything. But what a blessed place to be. It's worth the extra effort it takes to hang out here, you know, both energetically and economically, as well as spiritually. It's got a high vibe, you know, what can I say? You got to qualify vibes, that is, but it does. It's got a concentration of energy here that is supreme. It really is the shit, kids. And you got to be here to experience it sometime. So what we're going to do is provide yet another opportunity for you to visit here at some point in the near future. Now, we had a little gathering a while back, you know, called the Crestone Intergalactic Gathering and Hippie Fest. But we're going to call this next one simply the Intergalactic Gathering. The Intergalactic Gathering. And that's what it will be. This last one was but a shadow of what's coming, and it was pretty spectacular. We had a great time there, man. But this next one will just blow your mind, knock your socks off, send your spirit soaring. Finish up the process that we've all been undergoing for all these years and centuries, let alone the past 6-8 months of this year. Wow. And what a journey this has been. Even though most of the shifts are energetic, they're showing in the reality, and quite severely too. And many hearts are being turned towards the truth. It's an amazing time to be alive. And many are experiencing mental expansion such as they've never seen before. Their minds are expanding enough to allow the presence of the heart to be within them once again in full consciousness. To experience the practice of the spirit heart. Wow. Which is the center of our being, the center of all that is, the center of our galaxy. This little subdivision of the universe that we happen to live in. It's an awesome place of being. This Mother Earth in particular has been so kind to us. Despite all of our machinations against him, all of our activities that seem to treat her with great numbness, with a devil-may-care attitude. Wow. But that's not our real attitude here, folks. We've just been allowed ourselves to be corrupted into a rather unusual paradigm where money rules and, you know, the rest is all the talk of fools. But there's the essential basis of the paradigm shift we're going through now. Is a shift away from what we call an economic reality, where trade is the basis of all things in one form or another, and, you know, nobody progresses without it. What horse shit. and a new attitude called sharing comes into being. And we share from the essence of our creative heart that which we truthfully are. So in other words, we no longer have to indulge in work and activities as such. We are more in a spiritual supporting place with one another where we understand each other's needs and wants rather immediately and move to accommodate those in whatever way our current form of quote-quote technology allows us to be. I use that term rather loosely because it won't be technology as we know it now. It's the technology of the heart, of the spirit heart, in the center of your being. And this is where you find the person that you are. Explore it. Let it come forward. Love it. Give it the utmost care that you can. Bless the person that you are and its living presence within this personified being that you see as yourself. Stand naked before the mirror. See every wrinkle, every little imperfection. Then rise above it and see the perfection, and no longer be critical of your person, of which the body is only a representative, a part of, not the central, not the essential, but a part of the central and essential, a part of the being, the ever-present being that you are. So we're meant to take it with us this time, here in this form, transforming as we go through it. It's an essential part of our person and being now, in this present place, in that it is a very essential tool to our progression, our moving into ascension, through feeling in this person, this heart, through loving what you be inside of this being and outside as well, through loving yourself past all your perceived imperfections. And this is why I suggest the naked treatment before the mirror, because we are so self-critical and we look at the body with serious reservation. But that's only representative of the personal being that we are. It'll give you a clue as to what's going on inside of yourself and how super critical you've been of yourself, even though you've withheld judgment for the most part. You've restricted yourself just the same and held yourself back severely because of these self-criticisms within your own personal behavior. You're still grieving over things you did as a kid. And you may be approaching my age of 863 or 9 or whatever it is, but or close to that. And still, like this present person, just beginning to get it together, to figure out the personal being that you are, to understand the elements and dynamics and all the different directions and poles inside of this person, as well as to appreciate the experiential person on the outside, that which feels and expresses in a physical sense, which is really spiritual, because the essence of life goes with us in whatever we do. We're sharing our energy when we're together. Some people are scared to death to have other people's energy in their place because they think it's going to hurt them. Babies, if you see toxic effect in another, you neutralize it with your love and presence. It doesn't have to come in like that. We're all essentially at the same level. The center of the galaxy, the center of the universe. And wow, what an amazing place to experience the fullness of your living presence, by centering your beingful presence in the presence of another, and allowing your heart to expand it from there. Wow. It hasn't been like this since the beginning, when we first devolved into these dark ages. And boy, have we been through them. You know. But there is one personal moment that is time, and all of it coagulated together. That's the journey, the experience we're seeking for ourselves now. That's where we're going with this. You know, right to the center of the universe, the center of the galaxy, the center of the heart. And I'm sorry if my microphone made a little noise when I moved there. The son of a gun. Just sit there and be good. That's a good little microphone, ain't it? Picks up my voice, can't be all bad. Ah, babies, we love you. And that's the simple truth. And when I say we, I'm speaking, of course, of my personal self, Grandpaw Coyote, and then of all the persons and beings and experiences that surround you and fill your life. Because they all resonate through me when I'm speaking like this. And hey, if you'd like me to come to your area, personal like, and share a bit of this energy, I'd be happy to. Just cover my expenses and give me a little tip, whatever. I work on a donation basis, you know, so nothing seriously required, and I'll try to make myself available, you know. Heck, just contact me here or on Facebook, wherever, you know. I'd be happy to come share what I can. Works good in a group setting. And that's why I mentioned this next collective, this next gathering. We're just calling quite simply the Intergalactic Gathering, which will be held simultaneously all across the earth, with or without any earthbound organization. Mostly it's being arranged by spiritual means this time, so there won't really need to be a lot of advertising put out and so forth as that, you know. You'll feel it in your heart, and you'll know where to come, and you'll know the place to be, and you'll just be there quite naturally. You know, this has nothing to do with the essential earth, the paradigm of money and politics and borders and religions and governments and the exercise of power over others. It doesn't have anything to do with that paradigm yet. It's the very change that paradigm seeks for itself, because it knows its illness is killing it. And if it doesn't get better soon, it's going to collapse and there'll be no party at the end. But again, remember, this is just drama we've created for ourselves, and that's just one level of it. And it's here to teach us some practical experience by which we learn and grow and come back into our own power. You understand? Right into the resonance of your powerful, beautiful, all-encompassing heart. It's in each and every one of you as it is in each and every one of us. We're in this together. There's no division or separation between us whatsoever. Except for that little bit we practice for intimate ways, to more thoroughly enjoy the presence of our personal being, and the beauty and the wonder that that represents in the larger extension of reality as well as the smallest part of self. A person is a person in all their forms of being, and each of us represent a universe. So you know there's got to be a lot of universes, because here's one right here, inside of you and around you. Your universe includes quite an area. And when our universes collide, it's pretty spectacular. It's much better if the universes don't collide. See, so this is the biggest shift we're making. We're learning to work in harmony with all that is. So as our universes come together as personal beings, they gently merge and come together and join. heart in the fullness of personal expression. And then there's an expansion into a new way of being. So it's through this gateway that we gain our presence of being. It's why so many of us are beginning to yearn for it greatly and call it to ourselves, perhaps prematurely. But wait for this experience of personal presence. Wait for it to call you forward. You see, it's about the genuine nature of love. We've had a lot of practice and experience in knowing the different way loves can fool you, or why you'll be drawn together with a person and then apart after a while because your presences just no longer agree on that level any longer. You still may have a great relationship beyond that, living as persons in separate places and so forth. But all of these have been experienced that prepare you to know the genuine nature of love when it appears to your personal presence in another form that seems to pretty much match you in every level and every way. Maybe not the same experience, but the same life in essence. This universe has been revolving around your universe, and you've been revolving around hers or his. It's just how it works. And it's essential that the same universes, those that are twins, cosmic twins, come together again. It's like a brother and sister in the founding of a union, but it's done in purity. So you look at your twin and you see aspects in her presence or his presence that you hadn't seen in yourself before. They're there to reflect this new view of yourself, these minute views, these expanded views. So you find greater appreciation for yourself through the presence of another. And what could make you happier or help you feel more blessed than an experience like that? It won't happen when you're starving to death, but it could. Because all of these things would instantly go away and mean nothing to you. Everything that seems so compelling to you now, even a thing called hunger that causes you to want food and, shrink down if you don't get it, get ill, and so forth. Something that's seen as a deep need, as that, boy, I'm stumbling. Something is with a deep need like that, just goes away. We see through the superficiality of it. And then that need is no longer in our presence. And all we can focus on is the spectacular nature of the love that we're presenting ourselves with, both from inside and out. As we see our universes, our world, beginning to collide with the presence of another universe, yet we understand the nature of this collision is not colliding. We can't help but have the fear of collision, because that's what we've been harmed by, these collisions before, and had to go and repair ourselves, repatriate inside, start over, begin anew. It's always that fear right there trying to stop us from doing it again. But pay attention this time. It's coming through you. You'll know when that presence of heart there and is there. And in the meantime, hang out with your friends, have a great time. Don't hold back from experience, but just be practical and honest. And until that heart comes forward, don't commit yourself to the presence of another person or being. And if you're already committed, honor that commitment, sure, as much as you possibly can. But if there comes a time of dissolution, don't be afraid to take it. Your partner will, even though they may not understand in the moment, will get it as time goes on. Mostly, with the nature of these days, they're going to understand. Some aren't. And you know your person probably as well as anybody does. So you kind of know what to expect already, but don't go there with prejudgment. Go there with open heart, honesty. Just let it be what it is. Don't feel compelled to be anything else other than what you personally be. And know that you're very, very loved. And feel the support of that love within yourself as you make these challenging choices. Or what seems to be choice, but there's no choice really if you look at it. You're not making a choice. You're doing what comes naturally, what nature, the nature of the heart, requires of you. And you know if you run contrary to that you'll have a miserable existence. But you might have to stay there a little bit just to prove that to yourself. But when that moment comes, don't be afraid to make it, because by closing these old doors, you're opening up to the new. And for some of you, that's a required part of the presence of being. You know, don't dwell on the imperfections you've experienced with another. Dwell on what that's prepared you for. How little you've known of how to act with another. And all of the personal injury that you and others have experienced because of that. Take that with you, because you know what you don't want to do. You know what you don't want to experience at the very least. And you also know the genuine nature of your heart. You know that you mean to do well by everyone. And from this day forward, you're going to recognize that and do that. Keep doing that, because that's what you've been doing already anyway. And this step in honesty with your personal self will bring you forward in powerful presence such as you've never experienced before, because before this time of devolution and powerlessness, we didn't know what the lack of power was. We didn't know what power was. We didn't know how to put a definition to such a word. We didn't know such a thing existed. So we've created this experience in part to help ourselves understand and appreciate and recognize our extensions of personal power, how we can literally change everything, all of creation, through the love of our heart, in our heart, and the love of that heart that creates us. It all works together. It's a divine symphony, a harmony such as you've yet to experience. So some of our human harmonies have come close. And man, we're bound to create some beautiful music together when we have this little gathering this winter here in Crestone, Colorado. The Intergalactic Gathering. Think about this one for a while, kiddos. Shoot a boot. You're invited if you feel it in your person, if you feel it in your heart. Yep. Going to be fun, I can tell you. Well, here with my salute to you once again, Grandpa Koyote, telling you he'll be back again with a few more of these little personal reminders. We love you guys. Have a great, great, great life, okay? Enough of this sitting around stuff.